Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradham Hari Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yamunatira Vanachang Hari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihang Hari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihang Hari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradham Hari Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yamunatira Vanachang Hari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihang Hari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradham Hari Yashodanandana Vrajajana Ranjana Yamunatira Vanachang Hari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jaya Radha Shyam Sundar Radha Shyam Sundar Radhe. Jaya Radhe Shyam Radhe Shyam Radhe Shyam Jaya Radhe Shyam. Jaya Krishna Balaram, Krishna Balaram, Krishna Balaram, Jaya Krishna Balaram. Jaya Gauranitai, 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 Jaya Gauranitai. Nitai Gaura Haribol, 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 Nitai Gaura Haribol. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Gurudev, 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev. Jayam Vishupad Paramahamsa Parivara Jagatacharya Ashtotar Satya Shishimachila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki. Jayam Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivara Jagatacharya Ashtotar Satya Shishimachila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Srila Prabhupada Ki. Ananta Guru Vaishnava Vrinda Ki. Sri Sri Sanatan Bhattavinachi Jeev Gopala Bhattara Saraganath Sari Goswami Prabhu Ki Jai. Prem se Gosi Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Gari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Sri Radha Krishna Go Gopal Gopi Gopinacham Kund Radha Kund Giri Govardhana Ki Jai. Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai. Mathura Dham Ki Jai. Mayapura Dham Ki Jai. Jagarapuri Dham Ki Jai. Tulsi Maharani Bhakti Devi Ki Jai. Ganga Umari Devi Ki Jai. Harinam Sankirtan Yaga Ki Jai. Sri Gonitai Ki Jai. Sri Krishna Balaram Ki Jai. Sri Radha Shama Sundar Ki Jai. Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol Samavita Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. All glories to the Yasamalavutis. All glories to the Yasamalavutis. All glories to Sri Guranchi Guranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Eighteenth chapter, Bhagavad-Gita, the perfection of renunciation, text number 15. Śarīra-vāṅ-manobhir yāt kama prārabhate naraḥ nyāyyaṁ viparītam pañcaite tasya hetavaḥ śarīra-vāṅ-manobhir yāt kama prārabhate naraḥ nyāyyaṁ viparītam pañcaite tasya hetavaḥ śarīra-vāṅ-manobhir yāt kama prārabhate naraḥ nyāyyaṁ viparītam va pañcaite tasya hetavaḥ.
śarīra-vāṅ-manobhir karma prārabhate naraḥ nyāyyaṁ vā viparītam vā pañcaite tasya hetavaḥ śarīra-vāṅ-manobhir
karma prārabhate naraḥ nyāyyaṁ vā viparītam vā pañcaite tasya hetavaḥ
śarīra-vāṅ-manobhir
karma prārabhate naraḥ
nyāyyaṁ vā viparītam vā pañcaite tasya hetavaḥ.
Sharira, by the body. Manobhir, speech. Oh no, sorry. Sharira by the body. Vak, speech. Manobhi and mind. Yat, which. Karma, work. Prārabhate, begins. Nara, a person. Nyāyyaṁ, right. Va, or. Viparītam, the opposite. Va, or. Pañca, 5. Ete, all these. Tasya, its. Hetavaḥ, causes. Translation of purport by His Divine Grace Srila Bhakti-yoga Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki. Whatever right or wrong action a man performs by body, mind or speech is caused by these 5 factors. The words right and wrong are very significant in this verse. Right work is work done in terms of the prescribed directions in the scriptures, and wrong work is done against the principles of the scriptural injunctions. But whatever is done requires these 5 factors for its complete performance. Bandeham Sri Guru Sri Utapata Kamalan Sri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Sri Rupam Sahagrajatam Sahaganarakanatan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadaitam Savadutam Parjana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Sri Vijaganvidamscha. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dino Bendo Jagatpade Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Navastade Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavane Sare Prishabhano Sude Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Vyahevacha Paritanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Shivajari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ramo 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 Hare Hare. śarīra-vāṅ-manobhir yat karma prārabhate naraḥ nyāyyaṁ vā viparītam vā pañcaite tasya hetavaḥ. Whatever right or wrong action a man performs by body, mind or speech is caused by these 5 factors. So the 5 factors were explained in yesterday's verse. Adishtanam tata kata karanam cha pritak vidam vividashcha pritak cheshta daivam chaivatra panchamam. The place of action, the body, the performer, the various senses, there are many different kinds of endeavor. And ultimately the super soul, these are the 5 factors of action. So, Here Krishna is explaining to Arjuna about these 5 factors by which something is caused in this world. Normal, ordinary people, they think that I want to do something, I'm doing something, and because of my will, because of my endeavor, it is happening. But here, Krishna is explaining that that is not right, that is not correct. And then in next verse, in tomorrow's verse, is explaining that one who is thinking that I am the doer, considering the different other factors, so this person is not very intelligent. And durmati, so he's foolish, the person is foolish who is thinking in this way. So practically, and we can see, and also Prabhupada is explained in the Purport, that the words right and wrong are significant in this verse. And then he's specifying what it means right and wrong. If one is acting according to scriptures, that is right. If one is not acting according to scriptures, that is wrong. And then he's further explaining that, but whatever the case may be, if one is acting according to scriptures or not according to the scriptures, but these 5 factors will be there. So adhishtanam, so the place is there. Karta, the worker, so it may be anywhere. Somebody is doing something, a person in a factory is there with other persons and trying to make a vehicle. So he's doing, but at the same time, other factors are there also. And as explained, so one may be devotee, if it is a devotee, and he's acting according to scriptures, he's not simply working, but he's doing everything as an offering unto the Lord. Even maybe an ordinary worker, as I mentioned, working in a factory, producing cars. So 2 persons may be there. One may be a devotee and in the morning is chanting, is worshipping the Lord, is hearing about Krishna, and in the evening also, and during the day he's working. So that is one person. So he is rightly situated. Whereas another person may be there and is doing the same work, also there, helping in producing, assembling the parts of a car, producing the car. But he's not doing according to the scriptures. He's not acting according to the scriptures, he's not chanting the holy names, he's not worshipping the Lord, and he may and then not know about the regulative principles of freedom. He may be engaged in sinful activities, eating non-veg items, smoking, drinking, engaging in illicit sex. So he's not properly situated. Of course, the activity of helping producing a car, there's nothing wrong in there, that it can be used in Krishna Seva. But the consciousness is different of the 2 persons. Of course, if making a car, so whatever people, the consciousness are there because everything is also done with the help of machines, and then there may not be so much difference in making the car if one is Krishna conscious or one is not Krishna conscious. So that is one, of course, angle of vision is there, what is right and what is wrong. But then, but by itself making a car is nothing wrong that can be used in Krishna seva. But the one person is properly situated and the other person is not properly situated. So different kinds of persons are there with pritak cheshta, different endeavors are there. And then ultimately, so the super soul is there, is sanctioning. Another example, maybe there's somebody will want to perform an activity which is not proper according to the scriptures. For example, just a simple act of eating, so eating non-veg. So actually there, the super soul, he's there also, and actually the Lord within the heart, he doesn't want that somebody in the human form of life will eat meat. At the same time, if a person is adamant in doing that, then ultimately the super soul will let him do. But then the person who is engaged in this activity of eating meat, so will have to suffer for eating meat. And that may not be seen immediately, it may be seen after some time. The reaction will come, not immediately. So here the super soul is ultimately the fifth factor, but is not really wanting the particular person to do that, but because he's adamant of doing it, he may allow. But then sometimes also the super soul will very strongly try to stop, and then he may change his mind, or something can happen in between also. Sometimes somebody wants to do something but he cannot do. He may not supposed to be doing it, or is stopped by some other person also. So many times a person wants to do something but he cannot do, because the super soul is not permitting, because he's not deserving maybe to achieve something. So different scenarios may be there, and different ways we can try to explain about these five factors by which one action may be performed successfully, and sometimes it is not successful. A devotee, of course, is always dependent on the Lord, and he knows very well that I'm actually not the doer, but ultimately it is by the Lord's grace that I'm able to do something. And he also knows that according to my previous activities, I may be able to achieve something. So different factors are there, different scenarios are there, time, place and circumstances are there. So many factors are there, which sometimes we cannot really ascertain what is the what is the case, why something is not happening. Although we think it should happen, but it is not happening. And sometimes you may understand what is the problem. A devotee, therefore, is always depending on the Lord, and he's trying to act for the Lord's pleasure, and is not attached to the result of his activities. If he's successful, then fine. If not, then he will accept it also as Krishna's mercy. He will always see it as Krishna's mercy. And therefore, a devotee, he can be more peaceful in life. Of course, even as a devotee, sometimes difficulties are there, and devotee sometimes is feeling distressed due to circumstances, but is more able to tolerate, is more able to cope with any kind of situation because of his surrender to the Lord and accepting everything as the will of the Lord. And ultimately, it is also, there's a saying in English language also, that without the sanction of the Lord, not even a blade of grass can move. So the grass is moving, of course it looks like the wind is there. And because of the wind, the wind of the branch or the branches of the tree are moving. But the devotee will understand that ultimately it is by the Lord's mercy that anything is happening. Even the blade of grass is moving by the will of the Lord. The wind god is there, who is making things move left and right. But the wind god is under the direction of the Supreme Lord, is a servant of the Supreme Lord. And by the Lord's mercy, he is able to perform his duty. So the wind god is there, but is also not independent. He's not causing the things to happen. He's also instrumental case, depending on the Supreme Lord. Ultimately, everything depends on the Supreme Lord. We may say the super soul, Paramatma, but the Paramatma is an expanded form of Krishna, the Supreme Lord. So everything rests on the Lord, as Krishna writes he's saying in the 7th chapter also. Everything rests on me as pearls are strung on a string. Even the Kantimala is there, resting on the string. The beads are there. Maybe pearl or tulsi bead, and they're resting on the string. So that is the example. All the incarnations of the Lord, they're resting on the Supreme Lord. The demigods, everyone and everything. The time factor, the material elements, they have no existence without the Supreme Lord, without Krishna. So the ultimate factor is always Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, or the Super Soul. Therefore, an intelligent person, he will surrender to Krishna, he will do everything for Krishna's pleasure. He will depend on Krishna. Of course, one must use one's intelligence and act intelligently in this world, and not just think that Krishna will do everything. Still, I have to do also, and I have to think. But I should think according to Guru Sadhu Shastra. I should act properly, as mentioned in the scriptures. And then I may endeavor to do any activity, to do anything. and then the devotee who is properly situated, so his activities are then devotional, and the result which is coming from the activity, so that ultimately he will engage in the Lord's service also. But even for one's own maintenance, one needs something. So from one's work, one may get some result, and that may be offered to the Lord, something, but something will be used for one's personal sustenance. But even there, the devotee thinks the body belongs to me, that the body belongs now to me, but it is temporary, and ultimately it belongs to the Supreme Lord, has to be engaged in the Supreme Lord's seva. So even he's taking care of his body, but he understands that nothing belongs to me. My house, my family, my wealth, my own body. I myself, as spirit soul, I belong to Krishna. My body belongs to Krishna. But we say, my body, because for some time I have to take care of this body. And that has to be engaged in the service of the Lord. So an intelligent person, he knows what to do and what not to do. He knows that Krishna is ultimately the permitter, and by Krishna's mercy I am able to do something. By Krishna's mercy I will get some result. So he is seeing Krishna everywhere, and seeing everything situated in Krishna. And then everything becomes devotional, spiritual, transcendental to the modes of material nature. And that is the proper situation for the living entity. Jivere sopoy Krishnere nityadas. The living entities, by nature, meant to serve Krishna. Jaiva dharma, jivka dharma, the religion, the activity, the nature of the soul, that is to serve Krishna. Krishnendriya priti, for the pleasure of Krishna, and not for one's own pleasure, but for Krishna's pleasure. Doing everything for Krishna's pleasure, at every step, every moment, with body, mind and words. As it's mentioned here, śarīra-vāṅ-manobhir, by body, speech and mind. Whatever we are doing, so that is for Krishna's pleasure. And it is by Krishna's will that we are able to do something. By Krishna's mercy we can speak nicely. By Krishna's mercy we can have positive thoughts. So of course the physical activities, these are more easily controlled, and that of course there, if one is doing with one's body, sometimes one may not be able to see, and one may think that I'm doing and not be able to see that ultimately it is by the Lord's will we can do. And with the words, so because of course even sometimes with the body one may not be able to do the things properly, especially in conditioned life. because one is not in control of one's consciousness and one's senses, then sometimes things are not happening properly. But again here, if the proper consciousness is there, then everything will be properly executed, even if there is some kind of fault there. But if Krishna is in the center, then it is not considered to be a fault. Like the pure devotee, sometimes apparently there is some fault, but there is no fault, because he is doing everything for Krishna's pleasure, with the body or with words and with the consciousness. So, but to control the body is one thing, and which is a little easier, but then to control especially the mind, that is more difficult. And even speech, sometimes we may say something which we actually don't want to say, but just because of conditioned nature, then we may say something which we should not have said. And sometimes it may be also, so of course, but again, by the Lord's will, something is happening. So devotee will always see the most important factor, that is Krishna, the Supreme Lord. Or sometimes then material energy, which is under the direction of the Supreme Lord. And to control the mind and one's thoughts, one's consciousness, that is of course most subtle and most difficult. But we must pray to Krishna that we may have the proper consciousness, that we may be able to think of Him, that we may be able to be always positive in our thinking, and then in our feeling and willing and acting. So most important is to have the proper consciousness, the proper understanding, and try to do for Krishna's pleasure, try to do according to Krishna's desire. So devotee is properly situated. A devotee has fine intelligence. Sumati, not durmati. And as explained also in the scriptures in Bhagavad-Gita in regards to Mahaprabhu, Krishna vanam tisa Krishnam sangha pangastapastadam yagya sankitapaya yajanti hi sumeda saha. Sumeda, subudhi, sumati, fine intelligent, good intelligence. So somebody who is having fine intelligence, good intelligence, is accepting Mahaprabhu as the Supreme Lord, as Swayam Bhagavan. Although his complexion is golden, because he's in the mood of Srimati Radharani, has the lust of Srimati Radharani. But he's actually Krishna himself, who is darkish in complexion. So an intelligent person, he understands that Krishna is the Supreme Lord. He understands that Mahaprabhu is not different from Krishna. And Mahaprabhu has come to establish the Yuga Dharma, the chanting of the holy names. So somebody who is intelligent, he will chant the holy names. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Because Mahaprabhu is saying that we should chant the holy names. It is the Yuga Dharma. Also Krishna, he says in Bhagavad-Gita, Sadanam Kirtayantamam, always chant my names. So we should do what Krishna wants, what Mahaprabhu wants. So one who is doing that is intelligent. It is according to scriptures, so we have to follow scriptures, as Prabhupada is writing. And that is the opinion of the saintly persons. Yuga Dharma Harinam Sankirtan Yagya Ki. So that maybe by chanting japa or the Mahamantra or congregational chanting with all the devotees, that has to be done, chanting the holy names. Nama Yagya Mahayagya Kali Kalmashanam Kali Kalmashanashanam Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prite Artam Nama Yagya Samarpanam. Nama Yagya, so that is the great Yagya of the age of Kali. No need to do big fire sacrifice. Still you also do fire sacrifices for the different samskars, but the big fire sacrifice, the big yagya, that is the chanting of the holy names. And that is most purifying. Purifying the consciousness, burning the unwanted things, the impurities in the heart. So it is a great sacrifice. And even from the point of view that it is not so easy to fix one's consciousness, to be absorbed in chanting the holy names. The material mind is not ready to do that. It will think of so many other things except chanting the holy names or focusing on Krishna, remembering Krishna. But one has to try to control the mind. So therefore it is sometimes a big austerity to focus on especially japa. Kirtan it is more easy because many devotees are there. That Krishna becomes more quickly present when Sankirtan is performed. But when the devotee is sincerely chanting japa, then Krishna will also manifest. And then the impurities which may be there, they are all destroyed, almost to nil. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Pritiartam. Pritiartam. Artha means, so, the means or with the purpose of Prite, Artam, Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prite, for the pleasure, for the satisfaction of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, we are chanting our japa, doing the Nam Yagya, Sankirtan Yagya. Nama Yagya Samarpanam, I am offering that to Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Padita Pavana Nama Nistaraya Naradamaha Radha Krishna Sarupaya Chaitanyaya Namo Namaha. So Krishna Nam, Padita Pavana, Nam is the deliverer of the most fallen. Krishna is more easily, Krishna Nam is more merciful than Krishna, is more easily accessible. So even the most fallen, they can be delivered by chanting the holy names, by chanting the Mahamantra. Radha Krishna Sarupaya, the Mahamantra, Hare Krishna, is also known as Yugal Mantra. Yugal means two. Hare Krishna means Radha Krishna. Hare Ram is Radha Shyam. So Radha Krishna Sarup, Nam, Krishna Nam or Mahamantra is Radha Krishna Sarup. Chaitanyaya Namo Namaha, then again offering obeisances to Mahaprabhu. So if we pray to him, to Mahaprabhu, then we'll be able to chant nicely. But even we trying to chant nicely, everyone is trying to chant nicely, but then we see simply by our endeavor it's not possible. We're sitting and trying to chant, but the mind is going here and there. But so if the place is favorable, if you are together with other devotees, it is a little easier. If you are amongst materialistic persons, if you have to go somewhere, you are at a train station alone and thousands of people are there all engaged in sense gratification, then it's difficult to properly chant the holy names. So then, but one is trying, but then the senses are there. Then somebody is there at a train station trying to sell something, some rasmalai, rasgulla, and the eyes are going there. Oh, rasmalai, rasgulla would be nice. Somebody is saying something and then one is listening, even it may be ordinary things, but because the material consciousness is accustomed to and it has taste for this thing rather than for Krishna. Therefore the ear are going there and Hare Krishna, but listening to these things, one is not chanting properly. So the senses are there. And then sometimes somebody is so the endeavor, one is very nicely endeavoring and praying to Krishna. Then for him it will be easier. But somebody is casual and then is being swept away. And then so ultimately the super soul, the devotee is knowing, I'm chanting, I'm trying to chant. Nam seva. In seva bhav, I'm here to serve Krishna. Krishna, please be present while chanting your holy names. Please let me chant nicely. Praying to Krishna Nam, Namrup. So not ultimately, so we endeavor, but that's not enough. But we have to endeavor sincerely. And then, if Krishna willing, then we can chant nicely. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So Krishna is willing, and then we can chant Shuddhanam. And then Krishna is happy that we are chanting nicely by His mercy, and then we are happy. Because we got Krishna's mercy, and we can chant nicely. So these 5 factors are there, and the most important factor is Krishna, or the Super Soul. And we are totally insignificant, completely dependent on the mercy of the Lord. And then we just have to tolerate the various situations, the various other factors which may be there. But we pray to Krishna and we depend on Krishna, the ultimate factor, the 5th factor, and most important. Everything else is secondary. We are secondary, we are insignificant. The environment is secondary. If Krishna's mercy is there, then everything is fine. And an action can be performed positively. And everything is fine. Any question? Yes?
Prabhuji, I want to ask one thing, that while doing any other course, in any way, in household course, if we are not holding the japa mala,
Yes.
but still we are uttering this Mahamantra,
Yes.
we may not be much attentive to the holy name,
Yes.
but still we are uttering
The holy names,
the
yes.
holy. What's the harm in it?
There's no harm. While you're doing something also, you may chant the Maha Mantra. And even because we have to do something, and at that time we have to concentrate on what we are doing. Like if you want to make some puris or some chapati, you have to make sure that it is thin, it is round. And so that you have to put your focus on that.
Yes.
At the same time, we want to remember Krishna. And so for that purpose, we may be chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. But we may remember Krishna or not. But we try. But then even further on, then Hare Krishna, making chapatis and then remembering Radharani, that Radharani, she's doing things for Krishna. Let me please Radharani, let me do, or let me assist Radharani in this mood. And then for Krishna's pleasure. And if Radharani is involved, then Krishna will be satisfied. So we can, so we have to practice, but it is true, it is, especially in the conditioned state, it is not always possible to remember Krishna or to remember Radharani or the associates of Krishna. But we try our best. So that is all what we have to do. And then Krishna willing, then we can remember him. So but we have to try in whatever we are doing. Sometimes you are successful, sometimes not.
But stress is always on that one should sit at one asana and do this work quietly with the mala.
Japa, yes, of course. We have to, for example, we must have a japa mala and we must try to chant 16 rounds, sitting nicely and trying to concentrate on the nicely vibrating the holy names and hearing the sound vibration, and then using the consciousness also in a positive way, remembering Guru Gauranga Krishna, but ultimately Krishna, because Krishna and Krishna Nama are no different. So while chanting Hare Krishna, you're supposed to be remembering Krishna, Krishna's associates, Krishna's pastimes. So by practice it is possible. By daily practice, by praying, then you become accustomed and then you will be able to do it. Slowly but surely. Okay? Anything else? Yes?
So, in this verse, we can see like our body, mind and speech are influenced by 5 factors.
Yes.
But there is free will also, no?
Free will.
Yeah, so
Yes.
where it will...
Free will, that is the performer. Free will. I'm doing. Now your free will is there. You do it for Krishna or you do it for yourself. Like Krishna one time he was giving class sitting on the Vyasasan and he's saying you have, every second you have your free will. You can decide. And then he was saying you do for Krishna or you do for Maya. So the same, the performer is there. You do for Krishna, that is right action. You do for yourself, that is wrong. Like you have a choice. You go to the temple and you see the deities. At the same time, for a man, a beautiful woman may be there. You can look towards Krishna, you can look towards the beautiful woman. So but the right thing is to look towards Krishna. The wrong thing is to look towards Maya and with an enjoying spirit. But we look towards Krishna with a serving spirit. I am there to serve Krishna. That is right. Looking towards the opposite sex with the desire to enjoy, that is wrong. So the same performer is there, but one is right and one is wrong. Okay? That is free will. Krishna or Maya. But the same performer is there, right or wrong. Okay? Anything else? Hare Krishna. Okay, now we have some Mahaprasad. So...